UFC Fight Night Hernandez versus Dolidze is coming up in a couple weeks, and today, guys, I have the full card breakdown with timestamps if you'd like to skip to any part of the video. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with 20 YouTube channels. Before we get into it, testing a new light over here. It's a little bit brighter than usual, so please let me know if it's too bright and I look stupid, but we're going to be breaking down every single fight as deep as we possibly can with timestamps. Again, if you'd like to skip to any part of the video, I appreciate you being here. Let's get right into it with the early prelim opener. And the first fight that we're going to be talking about is Uros Medic taking on Gilbert Urbina. This is actually, like, you know what? I'm recording this video before the Apex that just happened, but this is another Apex card that I'm totally cool with. But let's talk about Uros Medic. Let's break these fighters down too. Uros Medic is a powerful striker with both good speed and precision with okay takedown defense behind things to keep things on the feet. After all of the hype in the world, nobody seems to be talking about this guy anymore since dropping to 10-3 in the UFC with some iffy performances with that. He ended up losing pretty bad in the two recent UFC bouts that he did lose, only finding a nice KO over Tim Means, and unfortunately it's Tim Means. He got a KO over an old guy. But Gilbert Urbina, on the other hand, he is a good grappler who isn't horrible on the feet, but he is very low volume. His hands, though, when he does throw, they're okay, but he has been incredibly inactive in general, and we have not seen him perform in a year and a half. I have no idea why he's been off for so long, but hopefully it wasn't due to an injury or anything. I just want him to be okay, healthy. Like, let's hope for the best for Gilbert Urbina. So I actually think that this is a very good matchmaking by the UFC. It's two guys with fairly similar stats, decent UFC experience so far. Again, I don't know where Gilbert Urbina has been, but I still got to go with Uros Medic. I've just been more impressed from what I've seen from him, but I know that, like, he's been lacking success. It's just, like, in the toolkit. You know, I just look at him and I think he's a more skilled guy, and I think he's more capable of winning a fight than Gilbert Urbina. So, Uros Medic is going to be my pick, but for this fight, it is a low-confidence pick starting things off. Let's continue on to the secret banger of the card, guys. We got Joselyne Edwards taking on Priscila Cachoeira. And actually, you know what? I mean, if you have to go over to the bantamweight division, it's not too bad, but still, nobody really wants to watch this fight. Let's break down Joselyne Edwards' fight first. Joselyne Edwards is a kickboxer who does a good job when she is at range. She's just okay, like, but she does seem to be, like, improving here and there in the bouts. She also has no issue making the fight dirty, but the problem with Edwards is that she can be taken down in her fights. She's had also mixed success in the UFC, but she's actually coming off of two pretty nice wins. Her most recent one actually being, like, a really clean TKO, but the problem is she she might as well have, like, walked outside and fought a couple drunks and got a couple wins. So, like, obviously she's going to look good, right? So it's a little difficult to gauge if she's improving that much, but on the other side of the coin, we have Priscila Zombie Girl Cachoeira, who took this fight on short notice. She is a striker who just comes forward, swings with very little defense, and just looks to come in and hurt her opponents. She kind of lives up for the bantamweight division for the name Zombie Girl. She also has a hole in her grappling game. After returning from some inactivity, she got a really nice clean uppercut KO against Joselyne Nunes, but other than that, her performances have been hit or miss. She's 13-6 in the UFC, and I think, again, if you're going to have these two fighting each other, it's decent matchmaking for the UFC. I'm going to go with Joselyne Edwards. She's in her prime. She has seemed to be, like, improving a little bit from fight to fight. And again, the thing is, I don't trust her opponent's level, right? Priscila Cachoeira, she's aging. She's almost 37 years old. She hasn't looked impressive besides one win. And this is all in the worst division in the history of MMA. I'm going to go with Joselyne Edwards. At least I can look at her, and I've seen her have some, like, decent performances. But let's take a look at what Odds Gym has to say. And we don't have odds for every single fight at the time of recording this video, but for this one we do. Joselyne Edwards sitting at minus 241 favorite. That makes sense. She's probably going to win the fight. Again, Joselyne Edwards is going to be my pick for this bout. But now let's continue on up the card, though, guys, because I am very excited for this. If you guys don't know, I am a big fan of watching Christian Rodriguez fight. This dude always brings it. He's always fun, and he's taking on a fun opponent in Andre Touchy Fili. Let's get into what both of these guys are all about. Andre Fili, he is a kickboxer with great footwork and technique, and he actually does have an underrated ground game to back all of that up, and I know that he just trusts me on that one, okay? The guy's been around for the UFC for a long time, and he is the definition of inconsistent. He's 24-12 and constantly just wins and loses. His past two performances, though, they have been a little bit better, and although that he had a close fight with Cub Swanson, Cub proved that he still has it, and I do not look down on him at all for almost losing to Cub Swanson there. Cub is great. It was a really good scrap, Then he fought Melquizel Costal, and if you Costa, excuse me. And if you guys happen to be following the channel, you might know how highly I think of Melquizel Costa. They also had a really great back and forth match while it lasted, but unfortunately, Andre Fili didn't get the win. And Andre Fili, it's been his career. He wins, he loses, he wins, he loses. 24-12 speaks for itself, man. But on the other hand, we have Christian Rodriguez. Christian Rodriguez is a fighter training out of that Rufu Sport gym with the Showtime brothers. He is a speedy and accurate striker with good movement, but if he does find himself there, he can be worked on the ground. But in saying that, like, something that I love about him is he never accepts position, and he always tries to fight out of bad spots. Sometimes, though, the guy can show bad fight IQ. For example, I always point to this one, the Erceg Dalgarian fight. He could have finished Erceg Dalgarian when, he has him completely gassed. Instead, he goes, hey, I want to prove a point, and he just tries to submit him. Although in saying that, he's always improving. He's also extremely calm and comfortable no matter where the fight is. He's had a ton of good performances and bangers since joining the UFC, but unfortunately, he's 12-3 in the UFC, or not the UFC, MMA, but since coming into the UFC, he's finding himself in a bit of a must-win scenario here, losing 2 of those 3 last fights. He just got submitted by Julian Erosa and had a very disappointing performance against Melquizel Costa, which again, it sucks, man. It's for some reason he was just insistent on pushing Costa up against the cage, and he just ended up getting outstruck there. He lost the first 2 rounds, and I might be going a little bit too deep into this, but when they decided to stand up, like, in the third, he clearly won, but he could have won that fight, but he wasn't urgent in there until, like, round 3, and I will say, though, his corner did tell him to push in the third, and he delivered, and that's been really my only issue with Christian Rodriguez. The dude is so good. He has so much potential, and there's always room for him to win in his fights. It's just like these little things here and there that just doesn't make much sense that he does, He's such a good fighter. He has so much potential. He's not even 20 years old, but I don't know if I can trust him anymore. I need to see improvements in that fight IQ area when it comes to Christian Rodriguez. The guy is so good, and I love watching him fight. He dogs it out, and historically, I've been betting on Christian Rodriguez because I know this guy will bring it. Christian Rodriguez has also been memed a little bit. And, if Christian Rodriguez should win this fight, he'll lose the fight. And if Christian Rodriguez shouldn't win the fight, he will win the fight. So this is one of those fights where Christian Rodriguez should win the fight. And judging by Christian Rodriguez's history, Andre Fili is going to catch him with a head kick. But I can't not pick Christian Rodriguez. I think he's a better fighter. Andre Fili, but then again, if you want to go with Andre Fili, he's due for a win because he just lost. It's that weird MMA math going on over here. Guys, I think Christian Rodriguez is the better all-around fighter. I do. He just lets fights slip away from him sometimes. I think he's going to get past Andre Fili. I think he's a better fighter. Even on the feet, I think he'll outwork Andre Fili, and I think that he's going to get the job done. I'm probably not going to bet on this fight, though. I think I'm done betting on Christian Rodriguez. I've gotten bit a few times betting on Christian Rodriguez because, again, I think he's so good, but that is going to be my pick. Let's see. Christian Rodriguez sitting at the average odds of minus 214. Yeah, that's not even really worth it, man. Maybe part of the fun parlay for Christian Rodriguez, but I am going to pick him to win. I hope he wins because he's so much fun to watch, but I can't trust him. Let's continue on up the card, though, guys, to Elijah Smith versus Toshiomi Kazama. And this is actually it's an interesting fight because there's a lot of hype on Elijah Smith right now. But you know what? Let's break them both down over here. Elijah Smith. Elijah Smith is a well-rounded fighter with nice boxing and hand speed. He uses range very well. He has good fundamentals in general. He does have sneaky takedowns and a good ground game as well, and especially when it comes to ground defense. There is only one big issue with him so far is that we have seen him fade very bad before, but you can't count on that to happen. There was a couple things going into that fight, right? He's only had one UFC fight so far, and he's had a really great performance showing all aspects of MMA, improved cardio, good technique. The guy's coming to the UFC at a very young age, and a lot of people are really hyped up on him. But he's taking on Toshiomi Kazama, who is a fun grappler who unfortunately somehow struggles getting takedowns. He's decent in the clinch. His striking defense, unfortunately, needs a lot of work. And he does have good heart, though. But in general, he's also been a pretty inactive fighter. He's 11-4, coming off of a good return win against Charalampus Grigoru. It's tough because when you have these guys that have been inactive, you don't know what they've been working on. You don't know why they have been inactive for so long. The last time we saw this guy was almost a year ago. But we also need to see a little bit more from Elijah Smith. But guys, I got to pick Elijah Smith. I have to. Nothing that Toshiomi has ever done has made me go, whoa, look out for this contender. But Elijah Smith, I kind of get what people are hyped up about. I will say, though, you got a 23-year-old who hasn't had the best set of competition. So I think people might be overhyping him just a little bit because I would imagine that he's a favorite. Unfortunately, We don't have odds gem to look at right now, but I'm going to pick Elijah Smith. I think he's going to win. I think he's going to be better. That's pretty well all there is to that one. But now, guys, let's continue on over to a very, very fun scrap. That is Miles Johns taking on the returning Gene Matsumoto. This is a very good matchup against two guys that I cannot wait to watch, okay? We'll start by breaking down Miles Johns. Miles Johns, he is a strong wrestler with crazy power and speed for the division. Sometimes, though, when he's in there, he does lack technique, swinging huge shots, but unfortunately, he also sometimes just doesn't show up. The cardio is not looking good, and he's low volume, but it's weird because it's every once in a while. About his UFC run so far, honestly, there isn't a ton to say. He showed good power. He's taken on some decent guys. He's had some good performances. He's one of those guys that so far just seems to be, fitting well into the UFC, but not doing anything to really shine, and hopefully it's he hasn't done anything to shine yet in the UFC, but he still showed up. He's a good fighter. I'm excited for this. Gene Matsumoto, on the other hand, I'm a little bit more excited about this guy, to be honest with you. He is a South American Muay Thai champion, and he is an excellent striker who typically does not stop pursuing the entire fight. He is a very accurate striker and is always throwing something different. He does a really, really good job overwhelming people with this as well. He has absolutely amazing cardio, and he can both deal with and apply ridiculous pressure. His defense is on point as well. His hands are always up, and if he's taken down, he has excellent defense. After some really great performances in the UFC, he finally suffered his first loss to Rob Font, in which I need to mention because, first of all, he took that fight on short notice, and there was some controversy around the decision, but it was just an incredible fight by both guys, man. It was back and forth, no stock loss from either guy. I personally gave the fight to Gene 29-28. I thought it was clear, but at the end of the day, it was a close fight. But like I said, even in losing, he still had a very nice performance. He did a fantastic job mixing things up in that bout, and he showed all aspects of MMA. And again, I thought that he won that fight, and his good performances have been consistent from what we've seen so far in the UFC. He is a dude to really look out for. Plus, a lot of people count out Rob Font. I don't think you should be counting out Rob Font. I guess Rob Font kind of proved that. But again, he still had a really good performance taking that on short notice against a guy that was a step up in competition. So, I have to pick Gene Matsumoto in this fight. He's young, and I know Miles Johns is still in his prime. He's young. He's been looking good, man, and I think he's going to have better technique in this bout. I just do. I like that what I've seen from him, and I like that he constantly pushes forward. He's mixing things up, and every once in a while, Miles Johns just doesn't show up. It could be a good fight. It could be a good scrap, but I am going to be picking Gene Matsumoto for sure in this matchup. But now, guys, we got another banger. Another great fight. We have the Gabriella Fernandes taking on the returning Julius Stoliarenko. This is a phenomenal fight, guys, and I cannot wait to watch it, let me tell you. We'll start with Gabriella Fernandes. Gabriella Fernandes is a powerful striker with some submissions behind that striking. She can be taken down using her momentum against her when she's moving forward, but she is also very strong for this division. She can outmuscle a lot of opponents, and she's actually, in my opinion, being very underrated right now because she just won 2 fights against Carly Judas, who I think is great for the division, and then beat Kong Wang, who everyone else has been super high on. She's an underrated fighter, and Kong Wang has also gone on to do some pretty good things. I know we've been overrating her a little bit, but Kong Wang is still good. Julia Stoliarenko, on the other hand, she is a BJJ fighter who can't do anything besides grapple. Her takedowns and her striking suck, but she is willing to throw hands, I will say, okay? She literally, though, is only good off of her back. And that's not even, even that's not anything special. I wish I could say some good things about her, but I really can't. And I don't want to come on here, and I don't want to be disrespectful in these videos because I want to analyze these fights, technically break everything down, but sometimes you just have fighters who suck, man. And Julia is one of them. She's 11-8. It speaks for itself. She never fights, and when she does, her opponents are also trash. So when I'm looking at these fighters, I'm thinking, okay, Julia Stoliarenko really only has a submission opportunity. That's pretty well it. Gabrielle Fernandes, she has the BJJ. She can probably just outmuscle anything that Julia wants to do. If she's gonna get a hold of an arm or something, Gabriella might just straight up be stronger. I like the wins that she's had so far. She's on a little bit of a roll. I gotta pick her. She's gonna be better. And I know this is WMMA and we shouldn't be betting on it, but I am confident in saying that Gabriella Fernandes is gonna win this fight. Let's take a look at the odds over here. Gabriella Fernandes, yep. Sit a -401 favorite. You know what? With all the underdog wins we've been seeing lately, though, guys, man, who knows? Julia Stoliarenko might actually get the job done. But let me stop you for just a second, guys, because as you might know, I talk a lot about betting on this channel. And if you are interested in either supporting the channel or seeing exactly what I'm doing with my money each week, check out the channel membership, which is very cheap compared to other channels. Every single Friday, or Saturday morning, depending on whether or not I'd like to bet on Friday fights. I will be uploading a community members post along with a members only video explaining exactly what I'm doing with my money. So again, if you want to support the channel or see what I'm doing, you want to combine my fight knowledge with your own research, check out the channel membership, pin comment description down below or right next to the subscribe button. Additionally, we also have OddsGym as a partner in the channel. If you'd like to sign up to OddsGym and get a discount, use my code in the pin comment description down below. Use the link, code Clenbat. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Let's get into the main card. And we have some pretty good fights to talk about, guys. We have Julius Walker versus Raffael Cachoeira. And actually, I think this is another one of those fights where the matchmaking is pretty good by the UFC over here. Let's start with Julius Walker, though. Julius Walker, he is a big striker for the division who utilizes distance decently well, I would say. He can finish both on the feet and on the ground, but he is primarily a striker. In the octagon, he has decent heart, and he has really nice knees when he finds himself into the clinch. He also just made his UFC debut against Alonzo Menefield, where he did take this fight on short notice, and they just slugged it out the entire time. They both gassed, they looked sloppy, and they hurt each other over and over. Menefield barely won each round, doing just a little bit more, so he had a good fight in the one fight that he's been in the UFC so far, but it was kind of just a little bit of a slugfest. But hey, we saw good heart. Raffael Cachoeira, on the other hand, he is a well-rounded fighter who excels at grappling. He has really good chain wrestling in general. He has good scrambles, and he keeps up a good pace. On the feet, he also is very capable. He has been unable, unfortunately, to find a win in the UFC since joining, where he's willing to throw down, though. Like, he just ended up on the wrong side of both fights. They did give him some good competition as well, to be fair, but this is why I've said this is good matchmaking, because both guys haven't found success in the UFC, and both guys at least have shown, like, a little bit of talent. This is one of those fights that I'm not sure on. I'm going to lean towards Raffael Cachoeira because I think that he just has better technique in general compared to Julius Walker, who I want to see him do something other than just have a sloppy fight with Alonzo Menefield. But hey, it could be another slugfest. That's always possible too. I am going to go with Raffael Cachoeira to get the job done. Let's see what OddsGym has to say about it. And Julius, what? What am I seeing? What am I seeing? There's no way Julius Walker is a minus 700 favorite. There's no way. What? I'm all for, like, me picking an underdog here, but this is a big underdog. Holy. What am I missing? Why is Julius Walker such a big favorite? Huh. Well, I'm picking him. Let's see if I'm right. All right, guys, let's continue on to a fight that I actually think that this might be my most anticipated fight on the card. We have a newly replaced Steve Erceg, or Steve Erceg had a new replaced opponent, excuse me, and he's taking on Ode Osbourne. If you guys follow the channel, you might know that I think that Ode Osbourne is a very underrated fighter. So let's break these fighters down. I'm excited for this one. Steve Erceg, we all know him at this point. He is a very complete all-round fighter. He can do everything and is technical in the fight everywhere. He has a good chin for the most part, cardio. He's got everything, unless you brawl with him. That has the potential to give him a little bit of issues, but that, like, everything that I said doesn't mean he's the best, but he can absolutely contend anywhere in a fight. He is shockingly on a 3-fight losing streak, but to the best of the best, besides, like, maybe Kai Kara-France, who still is a very good fighter, but he went toe-to-toe with Alexandre Pantoja, where I thought he won that fight. Then he got caught by Kai Kara-France, where he was having a good performance before that shot that he got landed with, and then, unfortunately, Brandon Moreno outstruck him for their entire fight. The Brandon one, the most recent one, was also the worst performance that he's had so far, but at the end of the day, he still kind of kept up, so I still think that Steve Erceg is still championship material. He's in his prime. He's looking good. He's just one of those fighters on a skid, and the flyweight division is so tough right now. But let's talk about Ode Osbourne, 13-8. Ode Osbourne, on the other side of this coin, is a striker with really good power who has one big hole in his game. He can be taken down, and he can be submitted. Sometimes the guy lacks fight IQ, but he's so good on the feet, but engages on the ground. When he engages on the ground, he tries to go for submissions. But speaking of the ground, though, he does fight very well off of his back. He's one of those guys that, like, I get comments on. I know I just mentioned this because, like, I always say that Ode Osbourne's a good fighter and is better than his 13-8 record, but he's fought and went toe-to-toe with some really great guys, and he has good looks here and there. He's just always live to win fights, I will say. Everybody looks at Ode Osbourne and kind of goes like, oh, Ode Osbourne getting fed to somebody. I don't see him that way. He's coming off of an okay win, and I believe he's capable of beating Steve Erceg. It wouldn't shock me if Ode Osbourne cracked Steve Erceg. But when these two match up, I look at Steve Erceg and I see a very complete fighter versus Ode Osbourne who can be exploited in one area. Steve Erceg could very well come and grapple this fight, try to submit Ode Osbourne. He's a tough guy, but I think even if this fight stays on the feet, Steve Erceg is in a must-win scenario. The guy's probably very motivated. He's still had good performances even when he lost, and he's had all of that 5-round experience now. I think that Steve Erceg is going to beat Ode Osbourne, and I'm just saying, it wouldn't shock me if we saw an upset here. That would suck for Steve Erceg, man, but I'm going to pick him. He's a better fighter. He's more complete, and I think that he's going to get the job done against Ode Osbourne. Plus, Ode did take this fight on short notice. And let's continue on up the card, though, guys. Now we have Iasmin Lucindo taking on Angela Overkill Hill. Now I'm thinking about it. Maybe there weren't so many great matchups on this card. There's just a few over here that I'm like really looking forward to. Okay, let's break down Iasmin Lucindo first. Iasmin Lucindo, she is a grappler with great takedowns from the clinch. She is very good at both ground and pound and submissions. She is an improving fighter. On the feet, she is a subpar counter striker, I would say. She also has good fight IQ in the octagon. She finally had her win streak just broken against Amanda Lemos, where it wasn't a bad performance, she just lost. Other than that, she's been on a roll. She's been looking pretty good for the division. I think at 23 years old, almost 24 years old, she's going to have a good future within this division, okay? But she is taking on Angela Hill. Angela Hill, there's not a ton to break down about Angela Hill. She's one of those all-around fighters who really isn't great everywhere, but sometimes she gets the job done. Angela Hill is like the complete opposite of Ode Osbourne to me, where I always get comments and responses to me saying that she's bad. Guys, again, I don't want to be disrespectful when I make these videos, but I do not understand how she wins fights. I don't get it. She doesn't do anything good in the octagon, but sometimes she wins, and sometimes she loses. She's 18-14. Comment down below and you tell me something that she's really good at. It has to be the division. But she's 41 years old, and she's almost 41 years old, and she's now still performing. She's coming off of another win. I just don't get it, man, and I don't understand how I get comments every single time I say this, where, oh, you're counting out Angela Hill. Angela, how could you say Angela Hill's not a good fighter? She's not. She's 18-14. She doesn't impress me in any fight. And I know that I'm sitting here like I'm just guy in a microphone, oh, impress you. I know how that sounds. I just don't get it. I don't understand how she wins fights, and I'm going to pick against her again. Iasmin Lucindo is a fighter with a bright future. She's looked good so far. She has great technique. She should destroy Angela Hill, but sometimes Angela Hill just beats people. So I'm not going to be betting on this fight because I've been burned by Angela Hill. Iasmin Lucindo is my pick. I'm very confident in saying so. She's the better fighter. She's completely the better fighter. And look at these odds. She's sitting at -192. It should be a -800. Angela Hill's not good, man. Well, let's take a look at any prompts that we have. Wait, over 4.5? This isn't a 5-round fight. There's no way this is a 5-round fight. That has to be an error. It has to be. Could you imagine? Hey, let's make this one featured fight a 5-rounder. That'd be really cool. But my pick is going to be Iasmin Lucindo, guys. And let me stop you just one more time, guys, for this video. As you might know, I am your guy with too many YouTube channels. I upload daily on multiple channels on the platform. If you're interested in any of my commentary, we have our toes dipped in many niches of YouTube. You can check out the link tree at the top description, as well as the direct links within the description down below. We've been seeing some bleed over from the communities going over to other channels, so it's been really cool to see. Thanks for listening. I want to keep it short. Let's get into the co-main event. Now, this co-main event is actually a really, really good fight. We have Erceg taking on Christian Leroy Duncan. CLD has been a guy that I've been high on. I've been gassing up on the channel, but Erceg has been improving, okay? Let's talk about them both right here, right now, over here on the other side of the screen, okay? Erceg is a decently well-rounded fighter for the division. He's big, he's strong, he has pretty good power, and he does have a wrestling game along with that as well. There's nowhere that he shines in the octagon, but he is a decently good fighter overall. His age is also catching up with him now at 38 years old. Here and there, he seems to slow down as fight progresses, but not always. Like in his most recent fight, though, which is weird because his cardio was great. He's also hittable, but he's also improving. He's getting more skillful, but not by a lot. Like there's little things here and there that just impress me. Okay, he's on a 2-fight win streak right now. He is on a 2-fight win streak against Jamie Pickett and Chris Weidman. While he did look good, those opponents weren't exactly the best to go up against. So my point being with Erceg, he's still good for 38 years old, and you can rarely count him out of a fight, in my opinion. It's just that age is starting to come into play, but he still is improving in skill. But he's taking on Christian Leroy Duncan, CLD. He is a dangerous, insanely dangerous, and hard-hitting striker with creative combinations and a ruthless clinch game. He rarely throws the same thing twice, and I love that. And he has a top game on top of that in his back pocket. Wrestling and BJJ defense are really nice too. Every once in a while in that octagon, he'll just like try to look cool, and that's the only downside to him, really. He throws his hands down, or he might throw something unnecessarily flashy. I believe after watching his UFC run now, I think that I've overrated him in the past. He's still a good fighter, and he's still possibly improving, but he's had a couple performances where nothing really like wowed me in the octagon. He has so much potential, but we just haven't seen it yet. Like, prior to him entering the UFC, you could see, like, okay, look, this dude's going to be something crazy. Just hasn't lived up to it in the UFC. So, guys, when I talk about this fight and when I, like, look at these two actually being matched up, I kind of, like, my brain goes, Christian Leroy Duncan. He's younger. He's a better striker. I don't think that he'll get taken down in this fight. And he'll probably just outstrike Eric Anders. He has a little bit of a reach advantage. He's probably going to use some, like, pretty ruthless knees. But my gut's telling me to just not count out Eric Anders. I like the way that he looked in his past couple performances, but again, the competition level is night and day. Like, obviously, Eric Anders was going to win his last two fights, right? So maybe I'm falling into that trap too. I might be overthinking this one. I'm still going to pick Christian Leroy Duncan. He's going to be longer. He uses his reach well, and I think that Eric Anders is just one of those guys that Christian Leroy Duncan will be able to kind of tee off on. Plus, we are waiting for Eric Anders for his age to show even more in that octagon. It's a tough one. My guts tell me not to count him out, though. But I'm going to pick Christian Leroy Duncan. Fairly confident. I think that just for this matchup specifically, he's going to be better. And you can see Christian Leroy Duncan sitting at a minus 72 or 572 favorite. That makes sense. Maybe Eric Anders could be an underdog opportunity, man. We have seen like a crazy amount of upsets, so who knows. But let's move on to the main event, guys. And this main event is going to be a Roman Dolidze taking on Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. This is a very good event, a 5-round main event, and I always love to see Anthony Hernandez fight 5 rounds. We'll start off with Roman Dolidze, though. Roman Dolidze, he is a good grappler with sloppy hands. But he can scrap, and he does have good heart. He's been overrated the majority of his career, I will say. He has a good ground game, both BJJ and ground and pound. At 37 years old, he's found himself on a 3-fight win streak, but as we've talked about with a lot of fighters in this card, the competition level isn't too great. It's kind of been the theme. In my opinion, while he's probably ranked higher than Anthony Hernandez, I'm not sure what the rankings are. I'm sorry about that. He's got to be taking up a step up in competition against Anthony Hernandez. I'm sorry, I don't know what the rankings are off the top of my head. He's on the left side, so he must be ranked higher. But let's talk about Anthony Hernandez. He is a very tough, high pressure, high cardio grappler who will look to just break you down in there. He'll beat you up, and he wants to find a submission. Ruthless pressure and ruthless ground and pound. He is, I will say, I've noticed he's been very open to leg kicks, but nobody's really capitalized on that yet, and I don't really expect Roman to be that guy to do that. And unlike Roman Dolidze's last few fights, Anthony has fought much better competition. Pretty well doing what Anthony Hernandez does. Pretty well just like steamrolling them all with little hiccups and bouts here and there, but he usually just ends up dominating the fights. He's like a lot of people often describe Anthony Hernandez as a Colby Covington, a prime Colby Covington, I will say, but with a submission game on top of that. And while Roman Dolidze is a tough guy, he's 37 years old. The competition level has been not, I don't want to say night and day, but Anthony Hernandez has fought better guys. He's beaten better guys than Roman Dolidze. We've seen him use his game plan and break down guys that are better than Roman Dolidze and the guys that Roman Dolidze has fought. Why should I not believe that Anthony Hernandez is also going to do that to Roman Dolidze? I can see it like being a little bit close in the first round, maybe the second round, but especially in a 5-round fight, I think Hernandez is just going to work him, break him down. I don't know if he's going to find a submission, but again, I think Roman Dolidze has been overrated most of his career. And I think that Anthony Hernandez is just going to come in, he's going to continue the win streak, and it's going to take somebody like well within the top 10 to stop Anthony Hernandez, in my opinion. So my pick is going to be Anthony Hernandez. I think we're just going to see more of what we've seen from him in his recent performances. You can see he's a minus 355 favorite. That makes sense. Honestly, Anthony Hernandez is probably one of my most confident picks on the card. I'd have to talk about the betting guy to see who is going to be lock of the card, but Hernandez is up there. I don't see a way that Dolidze wins, but then again, underdogs win in the UFC. Let me know what you think about the card down below. Thank you so much for watching, and check out this video where we react to MMA TikToks if you want to continue watching the MMA channel. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Take care, guys.